Hi, I'm Adel Karandeep, and I will be talking about the Northwest Rebellion. In specific, we will be talking about the fight the Aboriginals and Métis fought against the Canadian government and received rights for their people, ultimately leading to the Northwest Rebellion and the return of Louis Riel.
During the construction of the railway, costs stacked up so high that the Canadian government was forced to take funds away from the Indian Department. This is where the Indians were provided with food because they were starving, mainly due to a lack of bison. Also because of lack of funding, which was used to get farming equipment and land titles. Both of these were promised by the Canadian government, but they couldn't carry out their promise because of railway costs.
The government mistreated the natives by putting them on reserves and putting them in residential schools, and by not giving them equal rights and even taking away their homelands. The government was not listening to the natives and not respecting them. Gabriel Dumont and 3 other Métis went to Montana to convince Riel to return to Canada. He decided to return because he felt his people needed him.
The Battle of Duck Lake took place on March 26, 1885. It started when Dumont asked Riel to take 30 men to gather supplies from the store of these merchants who opposed the Métis against the federal government. The Métis militia got into an altercation with the NWMP. They fiercely battled for about 30 minutes with casualties on both sides. Once the dust settled, the Métis came out victorious with the NWMP retreat.
The Battle of Fish Creek took place on April 24th, 1885. It started when a false report that the NWMP were advancing on Patoche. Riel returned with 50 men. The Métis then hid in rifle pits, waiting on the arrival of the Canadian troops. Once the Canadian troops arrived, there were Métis being outmanned, outarmed. They managed to hold off the Canadian troops from advancing to Patoche. This gave the Métis time to prepare for the Battle of Patoche.
The Battle of Patoche was fought on May 9, 1885. With the greater firepower and superior numbers, could not be fought off by the Métis for long. Just like the Battle of Fish Creek, eventually the Canadian troops managed to capture the town. With defeat of the Métis, Louis Riel was forced to surrender. This also led to the fall of the provisional government.
The trial of Louis Riel took place in July 1885 and lasted 5 days. He was given the chance to plead guilty of insanity. The final verdict was guilty. He was charged with treason. He was sentenced to death by hanging. He was hung on November 16, 1885 in Regina.